Hey all, welcome to Deliberately Creative. I'm Stephanie and today we're going to do a card similar to this. I've got a piece of watercolor card. This is 100% cotton watercolor card, 140-pound cold press by Arteza. Comes with envelopes. I really like it. It's not sponsored. I love this little branch of these opposite leaves, very loose, with a little bit of pen and ink. So let's get started drawing this in. I'm going to say the top of my top leaf is going to be there. My stem is going to be down here. And I'm going to go ahead and give myself a soft little arcing line. Move my brush. And then I'm going to go ahead and draw a leaf on. Just a little serrated edged leaf. I am going to come back and give this stem just a little bit of weight by doing another parallel line next to it. And these leaves are pairs of leaves that are opposite each other. So we've got a leaf that's going to go here and one that's going to go here. I'm going to come down. There'll be a leaf here and here. I am drawing super light with this pen right now. I'm sort of marking out my path that I want to take. This was from a real leaf branch up in the North Cascades of Washington State, up from my vacation. And it was actually turning colors because this was at the end of September. But see how I'm doing these opposite leaves, and it doesn't matter if you've got a wobbly hand, if you've got, if you want to draw it solid lines, go ahead. I like to draw my leaves like this with a bit of a broken line, and they have a little bit of a serrated edge, meaning a jagged edge, kind of like a knife, like a bread knife would be a serrated edge knife. I like that serrated edge, that broken edge, because then when you put your watercolor on, it can be a little loosey-goosey and kind of go in and out. But basically, I'm starting at the base where it's connected to the branch, going out to the tip and leaving it sort of a long edge. I like these leaves that have that little bit of a extra long bit on the end. I don't know. You'll find that you'll come up with your own leaves, your own style of leaf. That's really pretty. I am actually going to sign it now before I color it because I'm going to take a photograph so I can use it for my patrons and give them a special little treat. So my patrons on Patreon will have access to this to do their own fun little watercolor leaves. So if you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, the link is down below and up in the iCard. Now what I want to do is grab some of this sap green. Now this is the Daniel Smith colors right here. I actually got them in a tube and I put them into the pan. I have this sap green right here. There's a lot of color right there. I'm going to just take my brush. I'm holding it way out on the end because I want to put this on loose. I don't want to have as much control. I want to have less control. It's amazing how much control you can actually get when you stand back on your brush like this. Put some of that there. I'm actually going to suck up some of that paint. I'm not sure what type of plant this is. It was just, you know, one growing near the campsite. Just putting some color in, staying back. This is real time. I'm not speeding this up. As you can tell from me talking, I'm going to put a little bit of a serrated edge out there and bring that tip up. Oh yeah, that's nice. Get some of that darker green down here. There we go, out to the tip, pull it out. I'm going to try and keep this loose. I'm going to try and keep it very almost impressionistic. Even though we have a pen line as our guide, we're not limited to that line. We can move beyond the pen lines. We don't have to feel constrained. I know that the tendency is if you've got a line, you want to stay very close to it. I mean, we were all taught color inside the lines, but sometimes coloring outside the lines is better. I just picked up a little bit more of that sap green, very concentrated version of it, on the tip of my brush and just dropped it down into that really wet paint. Might do that here too, where it joins to the stem. I'm going to put that a little bit darker. I like it. See how quick this goes in though? You can make a ton of cards. And if you did this with red berries, you could make it, you could change this into a holly branch. Or turn it into mistletoe or whatever, you know, make cards for your holidays. The card can be the gift. If you do a painting like that, the card can actually be your gift, especially for those folks that you're not sure, you know, what to get, what to give. A hand-painted card is a lovely thoughtful gesture, especially if you can do something fast. I am going to go ahead and grab some of this quinacridone rose, and I want to get that nice and juicy. And I'm going to just, in some of these areas that are white, right next to some green, I'm going to just drop some of that on. Like this one's going to have a lot more. A lot more of that red in it. Ooh, that's pretty. Right out here, I'm going to make that really, that bright pink. And then when it touches into some of that green, it changes and it develops into more of a depth of color that you don't expect. Now, I am learning, always learning. I think that's part of it. And that might be why some people really enjoy watching this channel, is that I am always learning and exploring. new ways to do things for myself. They may not be new. Other people probably have done it before. You know, there's not much that's never been done in this world. But for me, as I'm exploring and growing skills, I like to take you guys along with me on my journey. So you can tell when I put it down on wet paper, the color kind of stays where I put it. But then if I move into some place that's a little bit more damp, the color will spread. I'm leaving some of those spots of white. I'm really enjoying this though. And I think what I want to do is grab some of this new Gamboge. All right, so I'm taking just some of that new Gamboge, and I want to just drop a little bit of that yellow on here. If it moves into some of the pink, that's great. If it pushes some of that green around, that's great. I just want a little bit more texture on here. And in some ways, a little more light. I think I'm going to take that yellow and draw it down for my first pass on the stem. I'm just drawing it straight across those leaves, the junction. That. And then I'm going to take some of that green, that sap green. Draw some of that onto those leaves. There's a lot of water on here. Kind of fun. It's almost like a watercolor pour or something. You know, you're just letting these colors blend and meld in puddles. Ooh, that is so pretty. I'm going to go ahead and dry it with my heat tool. You can just let it dry by itself if you want to. Oh, wow. I think what I want to do is go ahead and I'm not too worried about making this line, my pen line, match the paint. But I'm just putting a little bit of texture on the stem. Just like that. I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow just with the pen at the base of those leaves. I'm going to take that stem right up in. Give it a little bit of some detail lines. I can go outside the pen line if I want, or paint line if I want. I don't have to go and do all of them. I do like having some of these little extra detail lines inside. It just gives it a little bit more form. That shadow there where the leaf is joined. Bit of the vein in the middle. Scratchy pen lines. I like scratchy pen lines. try and keep it a little loose. Not too detailed. I love how this watercolor turned out. The watercolor effect on this, yum. And for being a card that, you know, I could probably do, you know, probably 3 in an hour. Maybe more if I, you know, was working on them and, you know, of this actual pattern type of thing. They'd all be different. Look at that. The details. And how different, even though I was looking at this one, the first one here, and then drew the second one. Wow. That's what happens when you do iterations. You do multiples of something. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Please make sure to click that like button, subscribe to the channel, share the video with your friends, and share some of your art with your friends and family. You know, it makes a great gift for any time of the year. Remember to go out and do something creative, take care of yourself so you can take care of those around you, and I want to see you back here again really soon. Bye-bye.